Happy birthday to us. Happy birthday to us. Happy birthday, eat my words. Happy birthday to us. I'm going to make a wish. I'm having cake for girl dinner tonight because it's our birthday, everybody. Happy birthday to us. So welcome to a girl dinner. We are going to do a little solo episode to just take a little bit of time to reflect back on this last year. We launched last year on April 15th, 2025. So our anniversary is tomorrow. And I can't believe what a year it has been. It has been extraordinary on so many levels. So thank you for tuning in tonight or today. Thank you for listening. And we're just going to take a little time and reflect on the last year. So let's dig in. Okay, so I'm having cake for dinner. It's this gorgeous chocolate and kind of like white cream, almost like a cheesecakey filling layer cake. It is absolutely delicious. So that's what I'm having for dinner tonight because I am celebrating. This has been an extraordinary year and we are officially one. So I just wanted to take a little bit of time. I wanted to, first of all, express my incredible gratitude to any of you who are tuned in right now. Thank you so much for the support that you've shown us over this past year, for sharing it on your social media, for commenting, for leaving us reviews. It really is extraordinary. And we are so proud of the work we're doing here. And we're so grateful that you guys are enjoying it and keep tuning in. So the biggest thank you goes to all of you. And so much has happened in this year. This podcast has evolved and grown. We've built this incredible community. I said the other day, I feel like we have this like little coven of badass women who are just multiplying. Like one of our guests, Trish Whalen, talked about us multiplying like gremlins. And I feel like it's true. We keep finding more of you. You keep reaching out. People are now, asking us to be on the podcast, which is such an honor that people are excited and want to be here. And so a lot can happen in a year. Since we launched, one of our guests has had a baby. Another has launched a book. Another has actually had a stroke and is learning how to talk again. Another has taken on a new role with a big job in the luxury sector. I mean, it's so much can keep happening. So much has happened. And so I just wanted to think a little bit about this past year. And honestly, I wanted to share what I've learned this year. Because I realized that, I thought I was doing this podcast for all of you, which of course I still am. But the first thing I learned is that I really needed this more than any of you did. And I have learned so much every time I sit down at this microphone and interview another extraordinary woman. My life has changed for the better. I learned something new. I'm challenged by something new. I'm forced to look inside about something new. So that is first and foremost a new learning for me. I thought I was doing this for the world, and now I realize I actually needed it a lot myself. So I wanted to kind of think about some of the themes that have come up over the last year. I think one of the first ones, and one of the things I feel like celebrating today, is that, life can change in a second and we don't know what our future holds. And so I've been working really, really hard, and I've been reminded by so many of our guests this year to, live in the moment and not kick the can down the road. Do the thing today that scares you. Do the thing today that you're embarrassed of trying. Do the thing today that, feels big and scary and hard, because life can change in an instant and life is so short. And so that has been a big lesson for me and something I'm celebrating today, because starting this podcast a year ago was really, really, really scary. And I didn't know what I was doing. And I had the incredible help of my amazing team, Sophie Drouin, who this would not have happened without her, Mila Boujnah and Isabel and Isabel Robertson, all of you. I would not have been able to do this. And so, but I did it anyway. And I'm a little bit afraid to listen back to all the episodes. I thought I should in honor of our birthday, but I was like, I don't think I can. It might scare me. You know, your first draft is always supposed to suck, or the first version of everything you did. I don't know if I want to hear that again. But anyway, I can say now, a year into doing the big scary thing, it's one of the best things I've ever done in my life. And I'm so, so happy I did it. So if that's kind of one lesson I would say to take away is just like, do the thing, you know, take the class, make the art, sing the song, launch a business, launch a podcast, write the book, do whatever it is, because if it's in you, it needs to come out. And that's how we're going to like make the world better. Another thing, and sort of in line with that I kept thinking about, and which was such a good lesson, and it came during our episode with Danielle Prescott. She said, you know, don't be the one saying no to yourself. And I just thought that was so brilliant. Like, don't be the one that says no. Don't be the one that says no to starting the big scary thing, or writing the book, or writing the song, or making the art, or taking the class. Like, don't be the one who's saying no. As someone who now is trying to grow this business into the next realm of greatness, I can definitely say no to myself a lot. And so I'm trying to remember that one. Let somebody else say no to you. And who cares if they do, right? If they do, they do. Today I sent a very long DM to someone I admire very, very much to find out if they're interested in partnering with us at Eat My Words. And it was scary. And I thought, well, who else is going to do it for me? I got to just do it. So I sent the DM and we'll see. So that was one thing that I was just thinking, that was one of the lessons that I've been trying to really remind myself every day. Just don't be the one saying no. Do the thing. I also was reflecting back on Carrie Bialik's episode, because this is sort of a good reason why you shouldn't be the one saying no to yourself, is that, you know, she talked so much about imposter syndrome and that sort of no one actually knows what they're doing. And I really love that. I love that so much. That is a theme that has come up so much in the conversations I've had over the last year with these extraordinary women, is they all were kind of figuring it out as they went along. Again, we haven't had a brain surgeon on yet, so maybe the brain surgeon doesn't figure it out on the fly. But so many of these women who have incredibly successful practices and careers really just did the thing and then figured it out as they went along. So nobody knows what they're doing, including me. I'm still trying to figure this out. I'm still trying to build this little media empire. I'm still trying to make this podcast matter, tell stories that matter every week. So, you know, we're all figuring it out as we go along. So nobody knows what they're doing. The other thing that I thought about, one of the biggest themes that has come up this year really has been this idea of balance or lack thereof. I think we as women, whether we are mothers or not, whether we are partners or not, whether we are caregivers in one way or another, we have a hard time with balance. I have a hard time with balance. And one of the beautiful things that it came up in the episode with Alyssa Rapp was this idea of episodic balance. So you're not really getting like day-to-day balance. You're getting kind of like a chunk, like if a chunk of time, if an episode of time that you can find a little balance there. Like if one day is really hairy and you're doing things for everyone else, that maybe the next day you find a little more time for yourself. Or if one day is all about work, maybe a little chunk of the next day or the day after that can be a little bit about play or about creation or about art or about a bath and a massage, you know? So this idea of us trying to strike balance all the time, I kind of hate the term balance. And I talk about that a lot on this podcast because I don't really think it exists. It never feels balanced in those days. I'm having one today, actually, where I was supposed to record this episode earlier today. Construction workers were coming to my house, making lots of noise. My studio is not up and running in the other building, so I had to push it. And then what I had to do was push it to dinner time with my kids. And so there was a lot of negotiating and a lot of figuring out how to find the time to do this. And I just want to remind everyone, like, it doesn't have to be balanced every day, right? It has to be something that we strive for in these sort of seasons of our life or episodes of our lives, that we find an overall eventual balance. And that, I think, is something that really came up so much with so many of our guests and really certainly resonates with me on a daily basis. And so I just wanted to sort of flag that and remind ourselves of that, if you're listening tonight, that it doesn't have to be balanced. Sometimes it's like, Cheetos and a gummy bear for dinner. And sometimes it's a beautiful piece of salmon and some green beans. But let's remind ourselves that we deserve the balance, whatever we can get, and that we don't have to beat ourselves up when we don't quite get it on the first try. So the other thing that came up a lot, and these are all sort of in the same theme, but I really love this idea of it's never too late, right? It's never too late to become the next version of you. It's never too late to start the next chapter of your life, even if you don't know you're starting it. I feel like I have met so many women who are in their 40s or 50s, and even some in their late 30s, who kind of feel like they are ready for a change, but they don't know what to do. And they've either, been working their asses off for so long and they want more ease, or they've been caregiving for so long and they want more freedom, or they've been, brewing this novel that they want to write, but they're afraid to start. And I think one thing that really, we started this, I just thought of this. The first episode we ever did was about reinvention, right? It was about this idea of starting over and starting the next chapter. And so I can now say, as a year in of a podcast host, it's really fun. And I'm so glad I did it. And I did it the year I turned 50. And so I think it's just something to remember if you are on the other side of that yet and you haven't tried the big thing or you haven't taken the next step, that it really isn't ever too late. We talked with Pamela Bell about her becoming a true fine artist later in life. She had this crazy, huge brand building, corporate building, business building chapters, many, many chapters of her life. And then when that was over, she actually came to art as a practice of healing and of finding herself again and connecting to her true self. And, now she's got pieces in galleries and in beautiful places and being hung in people's homes. And that, I think, is so exciting because she didn't start that until, way into the middle of her life. So I love this idea that it's never too late. It's never too late to try the thing, to do it. And then I guess that takes me to the next thing that I've learned so much from so many of our guests is just the consistent practice. So, Regin Lee talks about just getting into her studio and getting some materials, finding the clay that she has on hand, plopping it down on the table and just starting, and then going back the next day, and then going back the next day. And I can say from experience with this podcast, I made a commitment when I decided to launch this business that it was going to be a real business and that it was going to be something that people could rely on, which meant for us a weekly episode. And, I was having a hard day the other day and feeling kind of overwhelmed about a lot of the things that needed to get done. And one of them was getting a recording done for this podcast. And, my husband said to me, you don't have to release a new episode every week. And he's like, it's your podcast. You can do what you want. And I was like, but I do. But I do have to release an episode every week because I want to. And because that's part of the practice, is that you just have to do the thing, even when it's hard and even when it's inconvenient and even when it's taking time away from something else you want to be doing. Part of it is just consistent practice. Our wonderful guest, Shauna Sweeney, talked about that last week of just, talking about the consistent practice of calling her dad every night, even though it's sometimes inconvenient. Sometimes she's tired. Sometimes it's emotionally hard. That's the thing she's most proud of. And she also talked about the consistent practice of, after work, it should be done and the day should be done, and she's building this business and she's put her kids to bed, she still has to sometimes send that email. And I think that is just a good reminder when you're feeling overwhelmed or you're feeling scared of trying something, is just do the thing. Just try to do the thing in that moment. Just send the email, paint the picture, write the words, sing the song, whatever it is that feels like one step in the direction where you want to be. That is progress, and that is doing it, right? I was reading this book, and I think I talked about it a little bit on the episode with Blythe and Mallory about living a creative life. And I can't remember who talked about it, but I read something about, if you read about being an artist every day, then you're a reader. And if you study about being an artist every day, you are a student. But if you just make art every day, then you're an artist. If you cook food every day, then you're a cook. If you sing a song every day, you're a singer. So do the thing, If I put a podcast out every week, I'm a podcast host. And it's pretty remarkable and pretty magical when you set your intention to do something and then you just do it, and you do it regularly, and you'll start to see the universe giving you more opportunities to do it and supporting you in that way. So that has been a huge, huge lesson and practice for me. And I can say it's working, at least for me on this end. I think the other thing, the theme that sort of makes me a little bit sad, but is very true for me, is one of the big overall themes that came up with the women we interviewed this past year has been prioritizing our health and prioritizing ourselves, our bodies, our emotional health, our spiritual health, our physical health, our dental health in the case of Shauna Sweeney, and I actually said this to my husband the other day. I think you guys know, if you're regular listeners, we've had sort of a gnarly year of moving twice and construction and grinding, and all while I decided to start a new business. And it's been real hard. It's been a grind. And now things have calmed down and we have this business up and running and we are back in our home, and, it doesn't need to be as grindy as it is. And I'm finding it hard for myself to kind of downshift or to calm my nervous system into being less anxious and fired up all the time. And I said to my husband the other day, I said, what I'm so grateful for is this community of women who I sit and get to talk to every week, who remind me, some of them are really good at this and some of them are not. But either way, they're reminding me I have to take care of myself. I have to do better. So that is just another sort of thing that I think is probably universal to most listeners. I don't know I know one person, I think I can say, I know one person who is doesn't have kids, not married, kind of lives a little bit of a boho life. And I can say she takes really good care of herself. But that's one person I know. I can't say that about very many other people. So I think it's just, I want to take this time to remind us all, while you're also doing the thing, stop for a second and take care of yourself, whatever that means. Take a bath, get a massage, go for a walk, eat a beautiful, nourishing meal. Try your best to find the things that make you healthy and good, because the world does not give us those things, and the world is not really set up for us to do those things. We have to kind of seek them out. And so, yeah, I think those are the big ones. This idea for me of nourishment, that has been always what the bottom line is for this podcast, has been, I do think if we share our stories and we nourish each other with inspiration and with understanding and with sharing, that that may be our way through this crazy world we're living through right now. And then obviously I care deeply about food and physically nourishing yourself with music and food and beautiful wine if you choose to drink wine, or beautiful juice cocktails if you choose to drink those, but with people, with community. It always comes back to that for me, is this idea of find your people, feed yourselves, feed each other, inspire each other, and challenge each other and support each other. So that's kind of it, guys. I know no one wants to listen to me ramble on for a long time. So I'm going to sit here and I'm going to eat my cake and I'm going to celebrate, and I'm going to reflect some more on what next year is going to be. Oh, I should share what I'm dreaming of, because that's the question I ask all the time to our guests. And in this next year for Eat My Words, I am dreaming of expansion. I'm dreaming of growing our audience so that women all over the world and men can hear us. I did say to someone the other day, somebody asked me if men listened. And I said, we do actually. We see our demographics. There are men who listen. They're not our target audience, but they would learn a whole lot about women if they did tune in. So to those of you who are tuning in, bravo. I hope you feel smart, because we tell you all the things. We tell you all the secrets here if you just listen up. But I am dreaming of this being a worldwide podcast that people are listening to wherever they are, and providing nourishment and inspiration for them wherever they are. I am dreaming of a book, putting it out there, everybody. I'm dreaming of a beautiful book, sharing the stories that we've shared on this podcast, sharing recipes, sharing all the beautiful things. So we're working on that. And I'm dreaming of lots and lots of in real life events with all of you, our listeners, and with our beautiful guests. So I'm dreaming of the Eat My Words world getting bigger and bigger. And that is happening already because of all of you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I hope that you keep dreaming for yourselves. Don't forget to dream. It's really important. I'm actually living part of my dream already by getting to do this with all of you. And so that feels pretty incredible. So happy birthday to us. Thank you so much for all of your support, all of your feedback, good and bad. We take it all of your encouragement. The other thing, you can listen to us on YouTube, Eat My Words, the channel. There are not full-length videos there yet, but you can listen on YouTube if you'd like. A couple of the most recent episodes are up, and then we will be backlogging the older episodes if you want to go back and listen. Oh, that's the other thing we're dreaming of actual full long-form video versions of this podcast, which will be amazing. So that is what else is coming up for us. So as always, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for sharing this in your, social media platforms. Thank you for texting it to your friends. Thank you for emailing it to your mom, all the things. We really, really appreciate it. We wouldn't be here a year later if it weren't for all of you. So thank you, and more to come as the Eat My Words world expands. Thanks to you guys. So I will catch you on the next one. Bye. This Eat My Words podcast was created, produced, and directed by me, Johanna Almstead. Our sound editor is Isabel Robertson, and our social media manager is Isabella Boutros.